Hey everybody, I'm John Ryan from IGN, joined by Brandon Hunt.
Hey.
And we're going to talk about Red Dead Online today, because we know single player's coming out just around the corner, but we also played a lot of GTA Online together, and Red Dead Online has us really excited. You know, the thing that I think I'm most looking forward to is they've said that they're going to have this focus on roleplay and morality this time around. It's like you can already kind of like lean into the roleplay side of stuff. Like there are some RPG sort of mechanics in GTA Online with how you level up and how you unlock new abilities to purchase stuff. But I'm really curious as to what that means. So like, you know, I know you've been following it for a while. What do you think about that notion? What do you want to see out of
I'm going to assume that
Online?
there's a little bit more personable activities that you can do, as opposed to just sort of leveling up your RPG elements, your skills, what have you, running, what have you. But maybe like as you're interacting with NPCs in the game, maybe you can have a relationship with somebody, a cowgirl or boy, if you will. Cowbay. Maybe you sort of start building relationships with people, with gangs, with groups.
Yeah.
Everyone around town or anyone who you come across.
For sure. Well, because we see in, you know, everything we know about the single player so far is that like interacting with people without just saying like, I'm going to shoot you or not is a really big deal. And so I'm curious to see how that sort of factors in and transitions in from the single player, where it's like, you know, can I walk up to any NPC and just say like, howdy partner, how are you today? And then become that dude's friend, perhaps. Or if you're a big jerk and are just riding through town in the middle of a conversation, you're just going to shoot that guy, and then I just can't be his friend anymore.
Well, we know that people react to you based on what your looks are, so if you're muddy or bloody or something like that, people will tend to sort of be like, oh my god. So if there's some kind of element where you have to approach someone, I mean, I think it would be cool, and you gotta be clean, you can't look, you know, disreputable.
That's gonna be hard, knowing us.
Knowing us, exactly.
I think, but like, sort of leaning into the notion of like really playing a role in that world itself. Like, you know, do we think that we're gonna be able to just interact with characters the way we do in single player, or is it gonna be, you know, I kind of like to see the ability to join up with like NPC crews, for example. Like we know we'll have our own camps in Red Dead Online, because you know there were some skins that were promised with part of the pre-order bonuses for the online mode. So like I think that's an interesting idea, but I'd really love to be able to see us like join up with NPC groups, like whether it's, you know, the law or, you know, another band of outlaws beyond our own.
I think it'd be awesome if you could infiltrate or join a group of NPC characters for mission-based items, aesthetics, something like that.
I think that that's kind of the thing is like, you know, they've said, like Rockstar said, based on what they've learned from GTA Online and like sort of where they sort of felt that they found their footing was that first heists update, and then they sort of continued that with, you know, the Doomsday heist and the Smuggler's Run and gun running and nightlife, or After Hours, I should say. And I think we're going to see a lot of stuff that's like that. You know, I would really love to see some sort of long-form narrative missions. Something along the lines of like, you know, if you do infiltrate, you know, a company or a group, like have something that will take multiple days and like several locations to finish. To like
a tracking mission.
Basically like long-form quests almost. Like not necessarily like just a series of heists that you can do over and over and over again, but like actual factual quest lines.
Right. I think it would be awesome to have a long form mission like that, where you sort of use your developed skills that you acquire along the way for tracking, for camping, for hunting, right? And you do those in a way that, you know, things like that happened in the West, I'm sure, where you had to track a guy across the mountains for days, right?
Yeah.
And when you finally find him, you know, you feel accomplished.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is like, what then do you do there? Because like one of the things that they've wanted to play into a little bit, they've said, is morality.
Right.
And you know, we know there's an honor system in the single player, but like, what does that really look like in online? You know, kind of talking about joining up with groups, like does that mean that you have to say like, I want to play as a good guy or a bad guy, or can you sort of live that middle ground?
Right. I hope there's going to be options where, you know, you have to finally make that decision. Do I kill this guy? Do I become his friend? You know, is it going to help me in the long run, eventually down the way? I think that'd be really interesting to see.
Yeah.
Aside from the missions that we're probably going to get, right?
Yeah.
What about the goofy stuff?
Oh, I'm super looking forward to horses with jetpacks.
I mean, do you think that's going to happen?
I think it could. I don't necessarily think that we'll see jetpacks or flying DeLoreans. You know, maybe the train from Back to the Future 3, who knows? I don't know. I think that there definitely is room for that sort of fun to be had there.
Do you think they're gonna go that goofy with it?
I think that I think that the technology of the age in which GTA Online is set allows for a lot more like kind of wacky options.
Sure.
But I do think that there are other avenues to take. Like, you know, Undead Nightmare was a great expansion to the original Red Dead Redemption, and I think what could be fun there is like to see that sort of kind of played within the online space. So like, you know, whether it's a zombie defense mode or like you just have to fight vampires or robots or something in the Old West. I think we could see sort of like instanced versions of stuff like that.
Right.
I think more importantly, like the one thing that I really, really desperately want out of Red Dead Online is the ability to lasso you and drag you behind my horse.
Oh, yeah,
the really
of course.
important stuff. What about you folks? What do you want to see from Red Dead Online? Do you want to see some cool mission structure? Do you want to see some new factions or groups showing up and ways that you interact with characters and people? Let us know in the comments below. And for everything else on Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online when it eventually launches in November, stick around right here on IGN.
Yeehaw.